beloved, to this edition of Here, Oh Yeah, Is I Is or Is I Ain't, your brother, Gidon Ben Yashara all. Where's all the children's at? Hurry up and get them children's. Where's Big Mama? Where's Pawpaw? Go out into the highways and the byways and bring all the kinfolk around the television set. Why? Because we have a special. That's right, we have a special program designed specifically with you in mind. But of course, the views and opinions expressed are those of me, a po-colored country boy cotton picker by way of Israel, and the panelists that Yah has set, but not those of Comcast, their management, advertisers, or affiliates. Today's program title, oh yes, there is a mature verbiage alert. Why? Because we deal with mature subject matter, and sometimes it just makes you want to cuss. Today's program title is America Eats Its Young. America Eats Its Young. It comes off an old Funkadelic album called Cosmic Slop. You know, back in the day, I can remember so vividly when me and my beautiful wife at that time, you know, I've been through a few, and, you know, some of the ladies, we used to go up in the parties, and man, we used to party. You know what I'm saying? I still got a little juice left in me. But I mean, that partying, yes, in a sense, was a ministry. It was a ministry of fellowship, yep, of goodwill, of being able to come together, bump and grind with them tenderonis, yeah, I'm talking about, and yet come out unscathed, maybe right, a little musty, yep, but you know what I mean? We had the blue lights in the basement, the whole nine. Not to say that our African connections don't exhibit the same type of connectivity in their ritual dances that have to do with agriculture, food, and the worship of deity. But when we look at the dances and the being able to come together and the rituals that come out of that, it promoted a common brotherhood. We used to call soul brother, yes, soul sister. You know, we had a commonality. We wore the afro. Yes, we had the dashikis. Yes, I had them way back yonder. Yes, sir. But then we end up unleashing George Clinton, the funk master. And who did the funk master unleash? Because see, prior to that, you got in Elder Prince's time, we had the, not necessarily he was back there with the Platters, you know, we had the Platters, we had Little Richard, we had the Impressions, and we, I'm sorry? Smokey Robinson, yeah, he does go back. Sam Cooke. We had a more sophisticated way of representation of who we were, but it was even that was still a reflection of our imprisonment in America. They wore the white man's clothes. They sang with a cadence that the Europeans accepted. Lou Rawls, yep, you know, that was Jerry Butler, the Iceman. Yeah, I'm talking about Jackie Wilson. But they reflected, I mean, we can't forget the Godfather, who they got it all from, James Brown, out there with them tight pants, and sisters throwing their drawers all up on that. And he sliding from one end. Yeah, I'm talking about he was sliding and splitting and, you know, please. But what George Clinton represented was an opening of the mind. He used to write all types of commentary on his albums, and it was very deep. He talked about the mothership connection. He told us, swing low, sweet chariot, stop and let me ride. And my generation, we internalized that. We used to freak the honeys. Yeah, I was freaking the honeys back in the day. And it was a time of revelation, freedom of expression. And even today, when I get out on the dance floor, I like to get out there, and I'm more of a creative, expressive dancer because I be jumping and, you know, doing it all like this right here. I remember me and my brother Danny Yale, who y'all seen on the show, we went up and we would turn the party out. You feel me? But that type of freedom of expression in today's society with our children and George Clinton unleashing the freak has allowed us to, at parties today, they're killing each other, shooting. They at the what was that? The BET Awards. So one of these rappers came out. They start shooting outside. They killing now. The rappers want to kill each other. You know, Lil Wayne and Young Thug, who had just got arrested. He gonna shoot a police officer in the face. You know, it's a lot of what we released through George Clinton and the freak in my generation. We were getting Slambino, we were getting how we smoking that real, that Colombo, that Acapulco Gold. Feel me? You feel me? We were drinking that good wine and some of that corn. This is nothing new. Our people have been drinking it from the biblical times to this day, but we wasn't killing the way we killing today. See, when I talk about America eats its young, it eats its young in a fashion to where they have made everybody their enemy. Everybody. That's why they got cameras. I talked to you all last week about going to the lawyer's place, and they had cameras, locked doors, electronic. They had everything but a moat and alligators around there. Exactly. Because they do so much dirt that they got to run and protect themselves because of all the, because guess what? What goes around, it comes right back around to you. And our children are being eaten by domestic violence, by drug abuse. You know, heroin is at an all-time high. That was back during, when I was younger, the Vietnam, heroin in the 50s and the 60s was the thing Whitey introduced to us. Yep. You feel me? We wasn't going out there shooting up them white boys, you know, out there drunk and strung out, women hoeing. That was after the, what they had, where they had the free love thing back in the 60s, Woodstock. You feel me? I was a young, strapping lad down in the country. But see, the Most High set me down, and it insulated me from a lot of that, but I was also very curious about my history, my nature, and the white girls down there in Henry County wanted to give me some. It was that type of mentality that this young killer talked about. Storm, that's his middle name, the guy who went into South Carolina church, killed Dylan Roof. His middle name was Storm, and stormed in and killed off a bunch of folks and told a lie that we's raping their women. They women is raping us, if you want to know the truth. And it was because of this freak mentality, this lack of boundaries, that the Ku Klux Klan and other people, we didn't want their women. We got the finest, most intelligent, beautiful women on the planet. But they went and threw their women in on us because when we finally were introduced into their military and athletics, the white women went crazy over us, and we went crazy over these whorish white women that were gapping their legs and wearing all this stuff that our women had not been raised up doing. It was after that, the women's suffrage movement, when white women took off their bras and became loose, that all the women just went crazy. And even in Africa, women had been not even wearing anything on their breast or anything, but it was not a sexualized thing. It was part of culture. What I'm getting to in the issue of America Eats Its Young is that there is a conscious effort to dehumanize, to vilify, to make beasts out of us that came from the American ideal or lack of ideals and morality that produce an atmosphere of hatred, fear, intolerance, domestic violence, sexual indiscretion, which now we're talking about same gender stuff and all this other nonsense that America is promoting all over the world. You know, President Obama, as I transition into another concept and subject matter, just made an accord with Iran. Yes. Whitey is gone crazy. Yes. They're like, oh my God, we done made them our new enemy. What you doing? But you understand, President Obama can only do what they allow him to do. He's a puppet. So they're really playing the populace, one good cop, bad cop. But they still cops and they still killing. Yep. So the issue of Iran, of Iraq, of the Middle East has to do with gender. Yep. It has to do with these men having their women under control, wearing long dresses. Not to say they are most populous people. It ain't that they ain't heeing and sheeing. Right. They got the hanky and the panky going on. But guess what? Hanky and panky will make you stanky. And there's some stank that you can't wash off. And that's the stink that America is promoting all over the world. Why? Because our roles in our families have been muddled. The understanding of how we should relate, not only one to another and with our families and our children, we're talking about international discourse with the world community. Yeah. You can't go in and take folks' land and bomb everybody and go and poison and experiment and create AIDS all over the world and think you ain't gonna make no enemies. You thought you knew you were gonna make enemies. That's what it was designed for, because now you want to take over the world. You know, this concept, and I was looking at it, I was listening to Bev Smith. You know, WAOK 1380 on your dial has the most powerful group of talk show hosts and hostesses on the planet, bar none. They start off with F. Keith Slaughter, they end up with Bev Smith. And she was talking about, and she had, what's my man's name, that the brother that was the, he's in his 80s now. He was a comic. He wrote the book on healthy eating. And Dick Gregory. She had Dick Gregory on her show. And he was talking about this executive order that President Obama has signed. I think it's Executive Order 13. I think I have it here. Let me see. It's 13601. Got it right here. It's Executive Order 13603. And this executive order, I want to read you a little bit about this executive order here. And it really is an extension of what we read last week about Agenda 21. And Executive Order 13603, and my phone here is kind of giving me a little. I'm going to give you a little of the details. It is about total control of all the resources on the planet. It goes right in line with what we read about Agenda 21. It goes into the control and manipulation of not only of let me see, I got it right here. It goes into control of not only all the water, all the resources, everything that is on the planet is going to be set up through Executive Order 13603. And because I can't pull it up exactly like I want to, I'm going to let you Google it, where you can read it for yourself. Obama has already signed it. Executive Order 13603. Dick Gregory brought it up, and he referenced it so that our people could go to it and find out what's going on. They have an agenda established to control the planet, the people, the water. Wait a minute, the planet is 73% water, or if not more. 75%, and they want to control the people, the water, the food, everything. This is why our children have been taught hatred. This is why the family tranquility, the domestic tranquility has been broken, because our families have been torn apart because America is promoting violence, devastation, division all over the planet. Now, the reason I also titled this program, the Spirit brought to me, America Eats Its Young, because cannibalism is a phenomenon that has been popularized in modern media. Many of you know the zombie scenario. They're talking about this artificial marijuana. They had this one man down there, and there have been several cases where in Miami, I think it was in Florida, one of the states, he was eating another man's face. I mean, zombies.
The Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, exactly. So this is something that they are preparing us for. And many of us that's old like me, and me and Elder Prince, remember Kirk Douglas in the movie Soylent Green?
No, that wasn't Kirk. That was Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston, there you go. Charlton Heston did a movie, Soylent Green, and it was talking about the future, and they were feeding the people these discs, and they were green, and he ended up breaking into the factory. And what were they created? They said there are people that were being freed. The people weren't being freed. They were being killed, packaged, and fed back to the rest of the population. Right. And we see this happening in the beef industry. What did we find out? Cows were getting mad. Why were they mad?
Because they were feeding cows.
They were feeding vegetarian cows. Why? Because these corporate interests don't give a damn about your children, my children. They only pretend to love their own children, and it drove the cows mad. And I went to one of these major chicken franchises, talked to a general manager. I said, what are you all feeding these chicken? Guess what they feeding the chicken? Chicken! It's a wonder the chickens ain't mad. The only reason they ain't mad, they own so many drugs and hormones and all this other stuff. They so drugged up, they don't know how to get mad. And they're so fat, like many of Americans, that they can't even think right. So there's this new agenda to free range. They're talking about, no hormone free. You can't believe. How do you know when the white man is lying? When his lips is moving. As a matter of fact, no. His lips don't have to be moving. He can be signing a lie. Because that's what they do.
That's why we got to grow our own.
We got to grow our own. We know that the minister, mosque number 15, I had to give them some props. They do their food. It's almost a giveaway. They just ask for a small contribution. They get food that has been put, that this grocery store, we throw away in this country more food. You can feed another country with it.
Hold it.
They mandate
you can feed folks right here that go to bed hungry every day.
Thank you. Because I was one of those children that went to bed hungry back in the day. And now our community, the Hebrew community, we're trying to come together to where we can have our own farms and so forth. But see, the Muslims, the Hebrews, we're so busy infighting because we done caught out the leadership, don't want to come together because this is my group, I run this, blah, blah, blah. And it has destroyed our children's ability to love one another. And that's all that the Most High requires of us is love and considerate forgiveness, gentleness, long-suffering, patience, meekness.
Respect.
That's why you have, but what do we have? P. Diddy, who ends up going to try to attack the coach because the coach is, hollering at his son. And then you had Young Thug, once again, out in the mall, ended up his house getting raided. They were waiting on that money. They said, this boy here got some money. Let's go ahead. They waited, 2 weeks to go out to his house, let him settle in, think he done got away, and went out there and found drugs, guns, everything. Now he got federal case he got to deal with.
Chris Brown this week. He was at the nightclub.
Right.
3 of his enemies went in there and robbed jewelry.
That's right.
Money.
Out of his house. While he was at the club.
I mean, just everything.
Just went through it.
And his aunt says part of that little entourage.
The group that he called his so-called friend. See, what we have matured and amalgamated and morphed into is a society of brute beast killers. And these killers, now we've turned on each other, which is what the world community is wanting us to do. First of all, for us to kill off each other, then they gonna kill us all with the food, the water, and everything else, and then they gonna fly off into space, they think, and leave us down here with zombies and eating each other, and Frankenstein and, you know, Dracula and all this red chip. While y'all eating blood and drinking and all that with this, but you're gonna be having sex and partying at the same time. Man, please.
Yeah, right.
You know, let me go off in the script right here. Yeah, I'm talking about. Because see, this thing here is off the chain, baby. But it takes me again, I go back to the party we used to. Party is a ministry.
Exactly.
The Hebrews have so many holy days. They're supposed to bring us together so we can party and love each other, but have the respect of the Creator at the same time.
That's right.
That's how we do this thing. You feel me? But anyway, in Lamentations, I want to pick it up at chapter 4. I want to read a few verses down here right here and see what you get out of this right here. Lamentations chapter 4. How is the goal become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, how are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter? Even the sea monster draws out the beast. They give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people is become cruel, like the ostrich in the wilderness. The tongue of the sucking child cleaveth to the roof of his mouth for thirst. The young children ask bread, and no man breaketh it to them. They that did feed delicately are desolate in the streets. They that were brought up in scarlet embrace dunghills. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom, that was overthrown as in one moment, and no hand stayed on her. Her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy and in body than rubies. Their polish was as sapphire. Their visage was blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It is become like a stick. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken for want of fruits of the field. In America today, we have been counted as one that's on the endangered species list, specifically the melanated, woolly-haired male, because they've incorporated our women for a time because they're the most beautiful, freakiest on the planet. But we talked about Bill Cosby raping all the women, but what about the thousands of men that have been raped in prison, that were raped on the ships, before the ships, and being raped now where they want to become women? You understand? And it's all because we have forgotten our rock, our creator who brought us, and we've turned to devils. But let me turn to this beautiful panel we read here. Royalty is on the set, the wisdom, the authority of the elders. You know who he is? Prince Zebekiah.
Shalom, my brother.
Shalom, elder. Welcome to the Hero Y'all Set. And you know who he is. His name reflects a time of day, but not a state of mind. Assalamu alaikum, Elder Sunday.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. In our ancient language, Assalamu alaikum, Shalom alaikum, peace and blessing, my brother.
You know, Prince Zebekiah, after having been out here, and I know you was a party man back in the day, you know, you still able to pull the young tenders, you know what I mean? And you polished, you're spiritually connected, a priest among our people. As you look among the hurt of our people in America today and the issue with Iran and Iraq and just violence in the land, what say you, sir?
Well, get in, you know, it's a factor that has to affect me, mainly because I have children and grandchildren. And wondering where they go out. You know, I'm to the age where, you know, it may not matter much longer.
Yes, sir.
But when I begin to think about children, right, they have to confront, they got to live that amount of time that I've already experienced.
Yes, sir.
And because of that, I'm looking at it today where you know, how do we reach our children?
Teach.
I was just talking to a young gentleman I met on the MARTA today, and I asked him, well, how do we begin to reach our young? And he said, by teaching them about the Creator. It shocked me because this ain't something that usually be on our young kids' mind.
That's right.
But quiet as it's kept, they're walking around, they just don't understand.
Teach.
Because the Creator is not being presented to them right.
Exactly.
So they're trying to search it out in their own mind. Well, what is tomorrow going to bring?
Right.
Exactly.
How do I respond? Peer pressure and the things that's going on out here, which is actually drawing things to the state that it's in. I think back when they had Our Gang comedy on TV.
Right.
This was the starting of that rebellion.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Teaching our kids to be disrespectful to
Right.
their parents.
You're right.
And to getting away from the trend of dealing with the instruction that the Torah taught us.
Yes, sir.
Teach it to our children.
Teach.
Talk of it when we walk by the way, when we lie down, when we rise up.
Right.
Yes, sir.
We've gotten away from that through subtlety,
Teach.
which is done by the TV set, paparazzi,
Teach.
you know, who are certainly tools of division.
That's right.
They allow us to become divided. Then they sold to us the American dream.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And as the American dream came, we began to forget about our children. Now we want to get to the money.
Exactly.
You know, the dollar,
Right.
the capital.
That's right.
The capital within itself, you understand when you look at it, you know, it's just a piece of paper.
Exactly.
right.
Okay, but we've become accustomed because even, you know, one time we thought about it, the gold was in Fort Knox or someplace
Exactly.
to back the dollar.
Exactly.
Right now that ain't there no more.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
So basically it's a piece of paper flowing around.
Teach.
All right, and on the piece of paper we acknowledge who is God.
Teach.
sir.
Okay, and they're in that structure. So we automatically done took away from the God who is God.
Yes, sir.
Right, and placed it in a man that's got the man on the dollar bill.
Yes, sir.
See, that goes back to Rome.
Come on.
That goes back to Greece.
Yes.
That
Egypt.
goes back to Egypt.
Yes, sir.
Babylon.
Yes,
Babylon,
sir.
okay, and as a result, our children are being misguided. Okay, they have no sense of direction. No one's showing them, hey man, there's a value in serving God.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Okay, there's peace in serving God.
Yes,
Teach.
sir.
Okay, because what the religions that are around are at war.
Exactly.
They can read about the religion.
Exactly.
Right, they've been at war ever since they became religious.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
All right, so what does this young man come along and begin to think about? I mean, what is there to offer him to give him a sense of direction, to get him up out of the situation that he's in? So, now we're, as elders, what could I give back to them?
Yes, sir.
And what thought came across my mind, okay, was the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom.
Teach.
Come on now.
Teach.
Now,
Teach.
how do I deal with that, the fear of God?
Yes.
It says, what does the Lord require of you?
Yes, sir.
But to fear him,
Yes, sir.
That's right.
right?
Yes, sir.
To keep his commandments.
That's right.
His statutes.
Yes, sir.
And his judgments.
Come on.
And in teaching these principles are the things that he told us to do.
Yes, sir.
See, we forgot it. The parents forgot. Said, teach it, talk about when you walk by the way,
That's
when you
right.
lie down, when you rise up.
Yes.
Raise them, let them understand, you know, that there's always somebody watching.
That's right.
See, what has happened here is God or the Creator has been killed in their mind because they think God died.
Come on.
And
Come
God's
on,
coming
brother.
back.
That's
You
right.
hit the
That's
nail on
right.
the head.
God ain't never died.
Right.
And this is what our teachers are not prevailing are failing to convey to these young people.
Yes, sir.
Because if they understood that every time they walk out in the street, like we were told to write on the doorpost of our gate.
That's right.
And upon, you know, and then so when they pass the door, you know, the doorpost,
Yes, sir.
they don't read, thou shalt not murder.
Exactly.
So, and when they come back home, they reading it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now they begin to learn, honor thy father and thy mother, that your days may be prolonged.
Come on.
These children are dying because they don't honor their mother and
Exactly.
fathers.
Thank you.
Yes,
They
sir.
don't follow the concepts and the instruction that their mother and father gave them for surviving.
That's right.
Even though we were in a poverty situation,
Yes, sir.
they survived it. They didn't
Exactly.
survive it as a gangster.
Exactly.
That's right.
So what we have to go back to is the book. We got to go back to the drawing board. We got to go back to being able to show and teach them the principles. The ministers are not doing it. They're worried about, you know, how to fly.
Right. And what they flying in.
And what they're flying in, as opposed to coming back to the community and sitting down within the community and say, look, let's have a gathering,
Right.
and let's begin to teach our children. But now, okay, not just the children that in my particular congregation.
Yes, sir.
All the children.
Right.
If my congregation is in, let's say, Brownsville, or I use Brownsville from New York,
Yes,
but
sir.
let's say in on the Bluff.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
All right?
That's right.
Let's get out and start beginning to teach those people in the Bluff to make a difference, so they can begin to understand that they, you know, there's some hope. But see, in the mindset of most instructors and ministers, they're teaching a doomsday philosophy.
Yes, sir.
And that was not really intended. They just borrowed principles from the scripture.
Yes, sir.
And misplaced it.
Right.
And misplaced the understanding.
Okay.
Because the Creator's talking to us about life and life, you know, endurance.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Generation to generation.
Yes,
The
sir.
Creator's talking to us about returning to Him. The Creator talked to us, like we talked a few weeks ago, about making the nations coming up and making offerings
Yes, sir.
to the Creator. That they acknowledge now, well, we recognize that the Creator is the Creator.
Yes, sir.
And we made mistakes by listening to the teachers that were teaching foolishness.
Yes, sir.
And our children are going crazy.
Exactly.
Also.
Yes,
Exactly.
sir. Absolutely.
That's right.
When we look at what happened in South Carolina,
Right.
right? The people who, the mother and father would have to look at this child and say, wow,
Exactly.
man,
Right.
Exactly.
this is what I created.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? This is what
Exactly.
the principle, this, after all the direction I tried to give him,
Right.
that he had to resort to this,
Right.
but was failing the Torah.
Well, you know, Elder, when Ezekiel was told, and Elder Sundown, he was told in the valley, he was not told to go up on the mountaintops. Many of our leaders want to be on the mountaintop. He said, I want you to go down into the valley of the dry bones and prophesy
on them.
to those dry bones. Now, you got people like Donald Trump that's talking about the Mexicans, talking about us, now he's talking about the Vietnam
Right.
vet. You
Yeah.
got all these leaders that's trying to divide and promote division. As a Muslim leader, and that's exactly what you are, when you look upon the face of our people, what do you see?
Well, to expound on what Brother Prince was saying.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there are peoples that is teaching, as I said a few weeks back. My brother got grandchildren
Yes, sir.
that's around these children that's out here acting a fool. When they were little, he say, when you see a crowd running to where fist about to be thrown or a knife,
Or
you all run,
guns.
right. You all run the other way.
Exactly.
Don't run to it. Don't follow the crowd.
Right.
What we need is more people like us.
Yes, sir.
Because as I shout out to Brother Anthony Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
As we discuss this, and he gets so upset because of how our young people are being led to the slaughter.
By whom?
Well, by the peoples in their circle that's
Media,
misusing
peer
and
pressure.
abusing to extract what they want.
Come on.
By the television, by the rappers, by the black movies that's being fed to us, the Shake Your Booty Club.
Come on. Come on.
See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
All of that. And then the peer pressure.
Yes, sir.
See what I'm saying? Case in point, former football player for the Buffalo Bills, mistress, drove all the way to Atlanta.
Yes.
Got his wife,
Yes.
went to Alabama, killed, and then killed herself.
herself.
You see how sick that is?
Woo, brother, that's just happened just last week.
And that's why we are following Satan, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Then some lady last week shot a 5-year-old child in the back.
Yeah, they got her locked up now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, over there in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Yeah, that's where that happened. So I'm saying to you, brother, plus, even he was saying about gathering certain people to go and minister unto our youth.
Yes, sir.
There are some of our youth is so hatred.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And like you say, such in that killer mind.
That's right.
Till they would look at us, maybe listen,
Right.
but go right back and pick up a gun. Why I say that? Minister Farrakhan had a summit for 10 years in a row.
Yes, sir.
With Snoop Dogg,
Yes, sir.
Dre, all
Young
of them.
Thug. Young Thug, one of them.
Oh,
too.
he one of them?
Yes, sir.
For 10 years, they
Yes,
had a
sir.
summit every summer around this time. I think it'd be in August.
Yes, sir.
What did me and my brother, what did they do? Once they leave that summit,
Right.
they might think about it for a week, a month at the most.
Exactly.
They go
Right back.
back.
Yes, sir.
So it gonna take a whooping.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, brother.
That's right.
It gonna take a beating.
Yes, sir.
If you look at
That's right. And that's what's
the
coming.
middle part of the United States,
Yes, sir.
fires Friday
Yes, sir.
on the freeway that goes into Los Angeles, burned up 100 cars, had them exploding like bombs.
Woo. Yes,
People
sir.
had to jump out and run.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
see, but we
Now,
not-
first, all week it was burning the houses and stuff. It done got to the freeway now.
That's right. That's
see,
right.
one of the things is we're not talking about that to them. You see, not only that, but after they made that Supreme Court decision, okay, they said over Georgia.
Right,
Georgia.
right.
Right. They seen fire fall out the sky.
Right.
And guys, they took the picture and showed 3 circles flying around.
Right.
In the thing.
Exactly.
But see, well, we're not talking about that to our youth to let them understand God is in command and God is moving.
But Prince, we are talking. It's just the folks like the big ones you say sitting up on the hill,
Right.
that got our people mind.
That's right.
See, like I was, saying to you earlier this year, brother. Everywhere I have went, say in the last 25 years,
That's right.
since I gained knowledge and started coming into what I am now.
Yes, sir.
Everywhere I went and touched, that somebody would listen and wanted, I just use my teeth as an example.
Yes,
well,
sir.
brother, how do you get your peroxide and water?
That's right.
Now, some took it,
Yes, sir.
ran with it.
That's
Some
right.
took it and ran with it for about a month.
Yes, sir.
Went back. So I'm saying, oh, well, brother, how do your skin like that?
Right.
Check my diet, the water.
Exactly.
Some took it. I'm talking about probably on one hand you
Yes,
could count.
sir. That's
But
right.
I told many.
That's right. That's right.
Now, most of them people that I tread with, say that 25 years, which was in my circle,
Yes, sir.
they are dead, brother. Why? Because they kept doing the cocaine. They kept smoking.
That's
they
right.
kept drinking.
That's right.
They didn't get proper rest.
That's
They
right.
didn't eat proper food.
Yes, sir.
Even with the smoking, drinking, and the cocaine. See what I'm saying? And even in my family, I went to my first family reunion in 1983 with the Quran and the Bible.
Right.
Pointed out the dietary law.
Yes, sir.
They looked at me and they told my mama, if you don't get this fool away from me, he is nothing but the devil.
Exactly.
I'm going to eat what I want to eat. I'm going
That's
to drink
right.
what I want to eat. And you ain't fit to tell me. Now, most of them are dead, brother. We talking about back in
Exactly.
1983 now.
That's right.
So I'm saying to you is, now, in that same book, it talk about the wheat and the tare.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
And it say don't pluck up nothing until harvest time.
That's right.
Okay, Satan is walking right along with the Most High folk.
Yes, sir.
But it's a time coming when harvest time comes.
Yes, sir.
Satan ass gonna be out of here.
Let me just say this, because the congregation of Yahshua, a small family group that I am a participant in, is having a family reunion of a sort at North Deshaun Park. We had it last year.
I remember.
We had it. We're going to have it again. It's going to be next Sunday. For any of you that know where North Deshaun Park, you can Google it. You can look it up. The congregation of Yahshua is sponsoring a family outing. We're going to be having fun, prayer, racing. You might even see me out there on a little race. You know what I'm saying? I still got a little juice now. And just to bring our community together where that we can unify with peace and love and community effect being the reason and the giving glory to our Creator, Yah. And now, one of the things we seem to have alluded in this conversation about the effects on our family, well, on our children, is the family. Because I want to highlight the first teachers of our children are mama and daddy.
Right.
Now, if daddy and mama are fighting, and we know, oh man, I've got, my 3 wives and the other women that I've been involved in, some of the spices. I had one of my wives, she'd get mad at me, she'd come up and, pop me upside the head. I'm like, girl, I had to regulate that. But my point is, when our children are seeing domestic violence there, I never heard my uncle and aunt curse or argue growing up in Henry County with my family that took me in after my mother went to the hospital.
Right. But brother,
let me just finish this in just a second. I'm coming right to you.
Yeah.
When our children are seeing all this domestic violence and cursing and mama wearing her drawers out in the street and daddy out there got his drawers hanging down and they on crack and everything else, talk to us about it. And then 770-559-2999. Holla at us.
Now I want to go back to the wife you said did this.
Yes, sir.
Me and my brother
All
figured
three
out.
of them, as a matter of fact.
Okay. Me and my brother back in the late 80s, early 90s, we figured out if you trace your wife back to her mom and daddy, you'll see where she got.
Exactly.
See, I grew up in the deep South with a saying.
Yes, sir.
A chip off the block don't fly far.
No, sir, it don't.
So if you with somebody that acting like that, trace back to where they came from. Now, brother, how can the children not be running amok with all that you just described?
Exactly.
How can the child not go out there and join the group to have a family and love because that stuff he got at the house, he don't want no, she don't want no parts of it.
Right.
You know, this past week we had a reading in the Torah.
Yes, sir.
Where we talk about Matos and Messiah. In the teaching,
yes, sir.
It talks about the place of a man and a woman.
Yes,
sir.
Right.
Right.
And it talked about the father, if you were in your father's house, how the father had, if he heard the daughter make a vow or something,
Right.
for that nature, right?
Numbers 30.
He was supposed to check it.
Right.
Yes, sir.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right.
And then, you know, once
He could
check
allow
it,
or disallow what she
Exactly.
said. Yes,
Exactly.
sir.
right. So the problem here is that we're not exercising that.
Right.
Right.
All right. And because we don't exercise that right, we got the women doing the ruling when they really ain't supposed to be doing that.
Out of place.
They're totally out of place, and that alone,
Yes, sir.
okay, is projecting
It has a ripple effect, doesn't it?
Of course,
effect
yes.
throughout the country.
Yes, Exactly.
So, but if we go back to this, when he says meditate my word, he means to go back to this, go back over this, and look at what's happening around you.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you see what's going on around you and you apply it to this, you begin to see, well, this is the reason why these things are happening.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
That's right.
So when we sit down with that alone, we begin to look and say, hey, man, I just discovered that.
Right.
Now, and very few ministers are teaching that.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And that's what's the problem is. So what we have to begin to do is maybe a dialogue with going to the ministry. You know, sometimes we get to knocking them.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But we fail to realize the gathering that they got.
They got a large following.
So now let's sit down with them and make them aware and conscious of what the consciousness should be about. Okay, and that when they sit down and they begin to look at it, and you can explain it to them. Well, look, this is the direction that the Creator of heaven and earth wants us to go in.
Right.
Okay. You got the ear of the people. Like you know, this past week in Jeremiah, it talks about how Jeremiah knew.
Yes, sir.
You understand? He said the Creator called him from the womb. Well, if you call from the womb, you're supposed to have an effect on the people that you're communicating with.
Well, you know, it reminds me of Darius Butler. Darius Butler is a young man that was been on this show. His mother brought him down.
Yes.
He was mentored on this show. He's 14
Yeah.
now. He's a young minister himself, and he may even be watching the show today. Darius, your
Shout out
family,
to you.
peace and blessings.
Yeah.
And not only did he start here at young age behind the camera, then he started on the panel.
Wow. Yep.
Then he got his own show, like
he
many.
did.
This show has spawned
Yeah.
many shows
Yes, he have.
many of the years. And we have women, and you know, even though I talk and I get maligned about talking about how our women as well as men have influenced the negative behavior, but of course when I highlight women it's because of the powerful role that women play in the rearing of our children. And if the men are being put in jail and maligned, now my mother and my biological father were never around.
Right.
But do you know what? I never heard a negative thing about my daddy from me. Now, I can't say the same thing that I was about me and my wife, because that's sometimes I have verbalized. Now, so when our children are hearing these negatives, even though they may end up being smart in school, they're all brilliant, they have genius, that negativity still has a ripple effect. Go ahead,
That's
my
why
brother.
when my mother told me, once you and your mother child can't get along,
Right.
act civil because of the child.
That's right.
That means don't be bad mouthing her when the
Yes.
child with you.
Yes, that's right.
And told her the same thing.
That's right.
We did that. So I'm saying to you, brother, it still goes back to where that woman, that man came from.
Right.
That they can't understand whatever they do in front of that child, see,
That's
that
right.
Lawa told us about what they say, no, a child go by what you do.
Dude, absolutely.
Not what you say.
Exactly.
That's what
they
make
see.
them angry at you.
Yeah.
Then you say that one thing and they see you over there doing something else.
Right. That's right.
No, but brother, you have to concur that it was systematically set up
Yes,
to
sir.
drive a wedge between the man and the woman. Then
Absolutely.
elevate the woman,
That's right. That's right.
knowing that the man's supposed to be in charge.
Right.
That gonna cause a conflict.
That's right.
So either he gonna walk or he gonna get his fist.
Yeah,
See what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Oh, he gonna cower down.
Right, well, the three. He gonna walk, get his fist, or cow down.
Yes, sir.
So I'm saying to you is, we fell for this thing, hook, line, and sinker.
Yes, sir.
So we can't all blame it on Whitey.
No, we can't.
Like the minister told us a long time ago.
Yes.
You have some say-so in this too.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
He gave you a brain,
That's
2 eyes, 2 ears.
That's right.
So you sit up beating the hell out of White all the time. What are you doing for him to perpetuate what he doing to you?
Exactly.
See, we don't want it, brother, I say it again. We don't want to take responsibility for our action.
Yes, sir.
I can walk right out this door now and walk in a car coming.
Yes, sir.
And somebody yelling,
Yes, sir.
sundown, car coming. And I
Right.
keep walking.
Right. And you
That's
get
on
hit.
me.
Yes,
I
sir.
can't blame that person in the car.
No, you can't. No, sir.
See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, like I told you, it used to be this Caucasian woman. Got cancer from smoking.
Right.
You think she put them cigarettes down?
No, sir.
With the oxygen tank, brother,
Come
she's
on
still
now.
smoking. My
Oh.
stepfather,
Yes,
he
sir.
had insomnia and cancer.
Emphysema.
Right, emphysema.
Uh-huh.
When my mother would leave to go to work or
Right.
to church,
Yes, sir.
he gonna get him some Hennessy and a cigarette.
Man, that reminds me of even our beloved brother Mark, who was on this show
Joe,
for many
yeah,
years,
many
a
years.
powerful
Yes,
brother.
sir.
I remember the last cigarette he smoked in the hospital, and suffering from all the ravages of narcotia and cancer and all those things. Okay, we do have a call. And he talking about, man, walk outside with me.
Oh, y'all went outside.
Went
I
outside.
was just
and
to
guess
say,
what
who
he
gave
wanted
him a
to do?
cigarette?
Man, you can't hardly breathe. Now you want to go out? Come on, man. That was the last one he smoked, though. 770-559-299. Let's see if we can get this call. We've got some powerful people. Turu! George back there. We should be able to get this. Caller, what is your name, question, or comment? Caller? Do we have that call? Speak to us, caller. That's you.
The name is E. Can you hear me?
Yes,
sir.
I can hear you.
Yes. I just want to ask you, Bill Cosby is being brought down by the media. Do you think that the dominant society is losing hold of people's perceptions of celebrities, or do you think that the dominant society is bringing these people down because they no longer have a use for them? And also, my second question, if and when do you think Louis Farrakhan would be exposed in his hand in Malcolm X's assassination and Martin Luther King's civil rights people will be exposed for having a hand in his assassination, since all of these prominent people are being brought down. Thank you.
Well, let me just deal
follow
with the
down.
issue of our children and the targeting of our children. They are targeted, and yes, they're making themselves a target. As a matter of fact, Derek Bozeman did his program on this Friday about that very subject. And certainly, white America has always targeted us, specifically the males who are in leadership, who were in leadership position, and those that have some level of wealth. They do want to villainize and bring them down to destroy the positive respect that they may bring. Because not all these rappers are not bringing a lot of positivity. They're talking about rape and robbing and killing. And as a result, just like Snoop and Biggie, they end up becoming victims of what they...
Not Biggie. I mean Snoop. Tupac.
Tupac and Biggie. You know, Biggie was killed.
Biggie and Tupac.
Yeah, and of course, your boy who's in jail now was running over folks.
Right.
But let me let you speak to this issue.
Well, I want to say about...
the conspiracy to...
Right, okay. Let's go back. Let's go back to Jack Johnson.
And there's always been infiltrators.
Not only that, let's go back to Jack Johnson.
That's right.
Okay, Jack Johnson became the first black man,
Right.
heavyweight champion.
Yes, sir.
And he reigned up until they concocted up stuff to get him to take a dive, and then that was the end of it.
Exactly.
But he loved them white women.
He loved white. They were throwing him in his face.
He loved, like you said, that juice,
Yes,
that white
sir.
lightning.
Yes, sir.
So if you love what the enemy give you
Yes, sir.
and create, quite naturally, he gonna get you.
Yes, sir.
Bill Cosby used to hang out with Hugh Hefner. They were like two peas in a pot.
They were two peas.
So they gave him them white women like
Exactly. And showed him how to
right.
deal with them.
So I'm saying to you that now,
Yes.
what Whitey did, as he always do, he sit back till you get in your old age,
Right.
then he bring out the good.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly.
But this ain't nothing new.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm gonna get to Minister Farrakhan. Minister Farrakhan said in the late 80s when they bring out the Malcolm X movie,
He said it.
if the government open up the files that they have on Malcolm killing,
All right.
it would tell that the nation didn't have nothing to do with it. It was J. Edgar Hoover
Right.
writing Elijah Muhammad
Right.
letters with Malcolm X's name signed on it,
Right.
and vice versa.
Right.
It was J. Edgar Hoover using some of the brothers in the prison
Right.
that were being taught by the nation
Yes.
to put in Malcolm camp
Right.
and put in Elijah Muhammad
Now,
camp.
you have to, for all truth now, the minister did say he didn't pull the trigger, but he created the
I'm saying,
environment.
brother, I'm saying to you
he
is,
did say that.
right. I'm
Yes, sir.
saying to you is that is true.
Yes, sir.
He did say when Malcolm started attacking
That's
the
right.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then going to Mike Wallace
Right.
and the media,
Yes, sir.
which was Malcolm's enemy.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the
Absolutely.
minister and all of the minister had a problem with that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that he did say that.
Yes, sir.
But I'm saying in truth, see, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
Yes, sir.
About when you create an environment,
Exactly.
when you pit one group or one brother against another
Exactly.
one, you're going to have some in that group, when you're attacking the head,
That's right.
going to come after you.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, believe me, I
right.
know.
But
I've
I'm
been-
saying to you, Will, J. Edgar Hoover and them took that thing and
Yes, sir.
manipulated.
Yes, sir.
Because in that Malcolm X movie, you see where they was bugging Malcolm room, and they even made statements that he more cleaner than Martin Luther King. He's like a saint. I mean,
Yes, sir. Come on,
let's-
Prince.
What we're failing to realize is this. Presently, the prison industrial complex, right, is what they, you know, in other words, turning you back to free slave labor.
Exactly.
Right,
This is all
exactly, exactly.
Number one, Bill Crosby. Let's use him for example.
Yes, sir.
Bill Crosby presented a righteous type of living.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Right? For children from generation
Right.
to generation.
Right,
That's right.
All right.
right,
What would be better to destroy his character?
right,
All right.
right.
And they've done that with everybody. They've done it with
Exactly.
Malcolm.
Right.
They've done it with King.
King,
Right.
right.
But you know, one of the strange things is that J. Edgar Hoover, okay, when you quote unquote begin to deal with his gay tale.
Oh
Right.
man,
Yeah.
pervert,
Exactly.
deviant,
Exactly.
cross-dresser,
Exactly.
and that's just the top
See,
of the iceberg.
we're sitting down, not throwing that back at him and his people.
Right.
Come on,
We're sitting down, let that skirt,
Right.
what went on with him.
Right.
come on.
Okay.
Right.
And we fighting and dealing with the issues with how they throwing them, but they've been doing that for us forever and a day.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Yes, sir.
To discredit
Right.
the characteristics that would have us control our families,
Right.
have us look for righteousness,
Yes,
and
sir.
begin to deal with the right.
Exactly.
Okay. They take this and they use it against us at
course.
the
Right.
time, at the most time where we can may be effective
Exactly.
to go against their program.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So now when their program is set up now to return us back to the slave, if it was possible.
Hey, we were never released from slavery.
Slavery,
Let's tell you
really.
the truth about this thing.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So, but if it was possible, they would have us all back through the prison industrial complex.
Right.
Hey,
Exactly.
that's what they're headed
What have
for.
they done? Go back to Reagan.
Come on.
Right.
Reagan spoke and said, well, the enemy is up against us.
Exactly.
Right? He was talking about the thugs in the street.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
All right?
Yes, sir.
So there was a plan there
Yes,
to
sir.
take away and begin to do the process of the things that they're doing now
Right.
Right.
to open up the reason for being able to imprison.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
So they began building more prisons.
Yes,
Exactly.
sir.
All right.
Well, let me tell you on that point, let me just interject. Not only that, do you know the states have a contract with the prison industrial complex to fill the prison beds with people? And if they don't meet a certain quota, they can actually file suit. The states can file suit,
Against
or the
them.
prison can file
Exactly.
suit against state, one or the other, to where they must fill that quota. So that in itself tells you. And then Bev Smith brought up this. Not only did we talk about the executive order 63, well, I already said it, I can't remember it right now, but she talked about they've signed another bill to where they're going to be experimenting on our sons like they did with the syphilis scenario
Right.
to
That was back
see
in
how
the
they can
40s.
keep them docile, and
Right.
because of the violence that they perpetrate, they're going to end up. But let me let you finish what
But
you were saying.
see, if it was possible, they would fool the very elect of God.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, but the position that the elect of God is supposed to know,
Yes,
they
sir.
got to be sure that they know Yah.
We got about 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Once you know that you know Yah,
Yes, sir.
then you can call upon Him.
That's right.
And He will answer.
Right.
We've been hearing Him answer, and we overlooking it.
That's right.
You know, so I say to everyone, okay, the young and the old,
Right.
we got to go back to the instruction.
That's
we got to
right.
go back to the board and
Yes,
find out, well, why these conditions exist,
Yes,
and
sir.
begin to deal with it with knowing that we got a power that's on our side.
That's right.
If we make up our mind to come back to our lives, you may refer to Him, or to Jehovah as we refer to Him.
Give you
Brother,
take a minute. and
all I can say is I came from death door.
yes, sir.
I came from hell.
That's right.
Being in all them accidents on all that medication,
Mm-hmm.
and most of them that went through that at the same time I did, they no longer here.
That's right.
So I do know
You have
Yes,
a
sir.
purpose.
Creator.
Yes, sir.
I know His power.
Yes, sir.
I know He can take you up out of the mud.
That's right.
Up out of diseases.
Yes, sir.
Up out of addicts.
Yes,
whether
sir.
it's cocaine, heroin.
Yes, sir.
Whether it's morphine, which
Yes,
I was
sir.
on.
Whoredom.
Hoarding, cigarettes, alcohol. The point will you submit, even if they go to
Exactly.
that, would they submit to that print?
That's
That's the key.
Well, let me just say this. You know, we once want to thank you for being with us. This is your program. I mentioned Darius. He brought many other young people
Yes, he did.
that you probably, few of them are watching. Because our families are so disconnected, we haven't been able to come together. It is, I do want to remind you, next week, North Deshaun Park, I think I'll be here. Unfortunately, that I thought about it because I was supposed to be in one of these relay races that are out there because I still love to run. I still got a little juice left, praise the Most High. But for those of you who have the time, go out to North Deshaun and see what we're trying to do in our communities. We love you. We look forward to coming back next week. Peace in the Middle East, in your heart, and rat cheer. Peace. We out.
Perry Foster, I love Perry Foster Barbecue on Facebook. Look him up in Augusta, GA if you're in that area.
Yes, sir.
What I wanted to say also, Prince,
Rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Peace.